The steam curled like a guilty secret from the cracked bathroom door, carrying the faint scent of Irish spring soap and something earthier, like rain-soaked oak. I froze on the threshold of Mr. Harlan's, Jacob's, back porch, my toolbox slipping from numb fingers to clatter against the warped pine boards, the sound echoing like a gunshot in the humid July afternoon. "Jesus, Jacob," I blurted, my voice cracking like thunder over Lake Michigan. "You look like you could break a man's heart just standing there." Jacob Harlan didn't flinch. 60. He'd seen worse than a nosy neighbor spilling into his sanctuary. Vietnam scars that mapped his ribs like forgotten rivers. A lifetime of Milwaukee winters hardening him into something unyielding yet achingly alive. Water sluiced down his broad shoulders, catching the late sun slanting through the frosted window, turning his skin to burnished copper. He turned slowly, not covering himself, eyes the color of storm-tossed waves locking onto mine with a steadiness that pinned me like a butterfly to cork. "Ryan," he said, low and gravel rough, like he'd been gargling whiskey and regret. "You gonna stand there gawking, or you gonna help an old man finish what he started?" That was the moment the world tilted. The summer of 24 in our sleepy corner of Wauwatosa, Wisconsin, where the houses huddled like old friends under sycamores heavy with cicada song. I'd been the kid next door since Pop bought the split level in '05, mowing lawns for quarters that turned into college tuition. Then odd jobs after the psych degree fizzled into bar shifts at the safe house. Jacob was the fixture, the widower with the '72 Ford F-100 rusting in the drive, the guy who fixed my bike chains without a word and left pies from his sister's recipe on the porch after Mom's chemo rounds. We'd nodded hellos over fences, shared beers on his deck watching fireworks splinter the sky on the 4th, but never this raw, unfiltered, the air thick with what-ifs I'd buried under flannel shirts and forced laughs at Packers games. I stepped inside, the door whispering shut behind me like a confessor's vow. The toolbox lay forgotten. My heart hammered against my ribs like it wanted out. "Your sink's fixed," I muttered. Eyes anywhere but him, tracing the mildew stars on the ceiling. "Plumbing's a bitch in this heat. Lame. So lame." But he chuckled, a sound like distant thunder rolling in off the lake, and shut off the faucet, reaching for a towel that hung like a truce flag. "Appreciate it, kid." "Oh, you won." He wrapped it low around his hips, droplets tracing paths I shouldn't follow, and padded past me into the kitchen, leaving wet footprints like accusations on the linoleum. I trailed him, the house smelling of lemon polish and pipe tobacco, walls lined with faded photos, Jacob in fatigues, grinning with a unit of ghosts, him and Ellen at the county fair, her laugh frozen in sepia, a solo shot from last fall's Harley rally, wind-whipped and free. We settled at the Formica table, him nursing a Hams from the fridge, me twisting a Miller I'd declined twice before accepting. The fan whirred lazy circles overhead, stirring ghosts. "What's eating you, Ryan?" he asked, not looking up from peeling the label off his can. "You fix my pipes like a pro, but you look like you seen a poltergeist." I swallowed, the beer bitter on my tongue. How do you confess to a man old enough to be your dad that you've been half in love with him since 16? When he caught you kissing Tommy Riley behind the bleachers and just ruffled your hair, said, "Life's too short for hiding, son?" That the divorce from Lisa last year left me hollow, scrolling Grindr in the dark, chasing shadows that never filled the void? Nothing. I lied. Then, reckless as a Lake Michigan squall, except maybe wondering why a guy like you's still alone. Ellen's been gone 8 years. Jacob. You deserve more. His eyes lifted then, sharp as a switchblade, and the kitchen shrank around us. Deserve, he echoed, the word hanging heavy. That's a young man's word. At my age, Ryan, you take what comes. And what came was Ellen. 30 years of good and bad. Then the cancer chewing her down to bones. After that, the VFW bar, the garage, and quiet nights wondering if God's got a sick sense of humor. I leaned forward, elbows on the table, the wood cool under my forearms. Bullshit. You're not some relic gathering dust. I faltered, heat rising in my cheeks. You're vital. Alive in ways I envy. I see you out there, tinkering with that truck, whistling Springsteen like the world's still yours to conquer. Jacob set his can down, deliberate, the clink a punctuation. Flattery from the boy next door. What's your angle, Ryan? Come to play handyman or confessor? There was no bite, just that wry half-smile that crinkled the corners of his eyes, lines etched deep from laughter and loss. No angle. My voice was steadier than I felt. Just truth. I've been watching you my whole life, Jacob. You're the one constant in this godforsaken suburb. And today, seeing you like that, unguarded, it hit me. We're both adrift. Maybe. We don't have to be. The silence stretched, taut as a bowstring. Outside, a neighbor's sprinkler hissed to life, children shrieking in the spray. Jacob studied me, not as the kid borrowing his hedge clippers, but as a man flawed, yearning. Ryan Kessler, he said finally, soft as a prayer, you have no idea what you're stirring up. I'm twice your age, set in my ways, with baggage that'd sink the Edmund Fitzgerald. But damn if you don't make a fool wanna try. That night, as fireflies blinked Morse code in the yard, we sat on his porch swing, shoulders brushing in the cooling dark. He told stories I'd heard fragments of. Nom choppers thumping over jungles, the night he met Ellen at a sock hop, her red dress twirling like a dare. I confessed the grinder ghosts, the therapy sessions where I unpacked Dad's homophobic rants, the fear that love was just a pretty lie for straights. His hand found mine, callous thumb tracing my knuckles, and when our lips met, tentative, tasting of beer and possibility, the world righted itself, just a little. But Wauwatosa wasn't San Francisco. It was breweries and bratwursts, where faggot still slurred from tailgates after Badgers games. Whispers started small, Mrs. Petrovich catching us sharing coffee on my stoop, her eyes narrowing like she'd tasted something sour. Then the notes, anonymous, slipped under doors, sick old perv corrupting the youth. Jacob burned them in the Weber, flames licking the paper like vindication. But I saw the toll in his slumped shoulders, the way he'd glance over his shoulder walking to the Piggly Wiggly. We carved out stolen moments anyway. Mornings in his garage, me handing him wrenches while he rebuilt the Ford's carburetor, our fingers lingering on greasy parts. Afternoons hiking the Menominee River trails, where the water chuckled secrets and we could hold hands without the world watching. Nights tangled in his queen bed, sheets smelling of him, musk and Old Spice, bodies mapping each other like uncharted territories. At 28, I was all fire and impatience. At 60, he was steady flame, teaching me patience in the arch of his back, the hitch in his breath when I whispered his name like a talisman. Your trouble, Ryan, he'd murmur post-dawn, tracing the constellation of freckles across my chest. Woke up parts of me I thought the VA pension buried. I'd laugh, pull him closer, ignoring the ache of knowing this couldn't last. Not with the age chasm, the town's prying eyes, my half-packed boxes for a fresh start in Madison. Fall crept in on copper leaves and crisp air, the kind that sharpened regrets. We drove up to Door County one weekend, the F-100 rumbling along Highway 42, windows down to taste the lake's salt kiss. In a cabin rented under my name, Jacob's paranoia about receipts, we made love by a fireplace crackling like applause, his body a landscape of stories, the shrapnel dimple on his thigh, the tattoo faded to ghosts over his heart. "I love you," I said afterward, the words slipping free like birds from a cage. He stiffened, then softened, pressing lips to my temple. "Love's a battlefield, kid." But yeah. Me too. Back home, the storm broke. It started with Tommy Riley, my high school almost something, now a cop with a beer gut and a wife who posted passive-aggressive Bible verses on Facebook. He'd spotted us at the farmer's market, Jacob's arm casual around my waist as we haggled over heirloom tomatoes. That night, my phone buzzed, "Heard you're slumming it with the widow Harlan. Careful, old dog's bite." I deleted it, but the seed festered. Then betrayal, sharp as a gut punch. I'd come home early from a shift at the brew pub, keying into Jacob's place to surprise him with takeout from Calderon's, his favorite, cheesy garlic bread dripping like forbidden fruit. The living room was dim, but voices filtered from the kitchen, low, urgent, laced with accusation. "You think I don't know?" It was Ellen's brother, Frank, bull-necked, retired from the mill, the kind of guy who prayed before Packers games and called Milwaukee winters God's character builder. "Saw you two at the market, cozy as thieves." My sister's rolling in her grave, Jake. And with him, the Kessler boy? "You're a disgrace to her memory." Jacob's voice, steady but frayed. "Frank, it's not. Save it." I came to talk about the house. The will. "Ellen left it to you, but with strings. Family first. Not this abomination." A chair scraped, footsteps. I ducked behind the couch, heart slamming, as Frank loomed in the doorway. "Fix this, or I'll make sure the whole parish knows. Your precious Ryan? He'll be run out on a rail." The front door slammed like Judgment Day. Silence. Then Jacob's sigh, world-weary, breaking. I waited 10 counts before emerging, takeout bag clutched like a shield. He looked up from the table, face ashen, eyes hollowed. "Heard enough?" I asked, voice a stranger's. "Ryan, it's family first." "Ha!" The words tasted like ash. "Is that what this is? Some experiment till the kinfolk come calling?" I dropped the bag. Pasta spilled like entrails across the floor. "No." He stood, reaching, but I backed away. "Frank's an ass, always has been. Ellen's will. It's complicated. The house, the land, it's all tied up in trusts, church boards. But you and me, that's real. Don't let him poison it." I wanted to believe him, to drown in those eyes that saw me whole. But doubt slithered in, cold and coiling. "How long till you choose them? The easy path, the one without headlines in the Journal Sentinel." Tears burned. I swiped them furious. "I can't be your secret, Jacob." "Not anymore." He crossed the room in 2 strides, hands framing my face, thumbs brushing salt tracks. "You're not a secret. You're the goddamn horizon I forgot existed." His kiss was desperate, salt and fire, but I pulled back, the fracture widening. That week fractured us. I slept on my couch, staring at the ceiling fan's lazy spin, replaying Frank's venom. Jacob texted, "Coffee? Talk." But I ghosted, pride a bitter armor. Work blurred, slinging IPAs to yuppies who eyed my ringless finger with pity. Then the call came, late October, leaves skeleton rattling in the wind. "Ryan," Jacob's voice over the line. "Horse. Come over. Please." I went, because love's a fool's errand. He met me at the door in his old Cardinals cap, eyes red-rimmed. The kitchen table held papers, wills, deeds, a letter in Ellen's looping script. "Read it," he said, sliding it across. "Dearest Jake, if you're reading this, I'm gone, and you're floundering like a fish on the dock. Remember our pact. Live full, no half measures. Love who loves you back. Man, woman, doesn't matter. You gave me 30 years. Now give yourself the rest. Burn the bridges if you must. All my love." Tears welled in his eyes. Rare, precious. She knew, even then, about the doubts, the what-ifs before we married. Said it didn't change a thing. He took my hand. "Frank's wrong. The house stays, the memories too, but you're mine now." Relief crashed like waves on North Beach. We clung, sobbing into each other's necks, the world outside paling. But conflict loomed, deeper than busybody notes. Winter gripped Wauwatosa in iron fists, snow blanketing sins. We rebuilt cautious, movie nights with TCM classics, his commentary on Bogart's Swagger a Bomb, snowshoeing through Hart Park, laughter echoing off iced ponds. Intimacy returned, slower, sweeter, his hands reverent on my hips, my lips tracing scars like apologies. Yet betrayal's shadow lingered. Tommy escalated. A bar confrontation, breath reeking of Pabst, shoving me against the dartboard. "Harlan's using you, kid." Washing away his widow guilt on fresh meat. I swung, he ducked, laughing. "Ask him about the letters. The ones from Nam." Doubt gnawed anew. That night, rifling Jacob's desk for Advil, migraines from old shrapnel, I found them, yellowed envelopes, postmarked Saigon, scrawled in a hand not his. "Miss you, cowboy. Nights here are hell without your laugh." Signed, Mickey. My stomach plummeted. Photos slipped out, 2 soldiers, arms slung casual, grins fierce under helmets. Jacob, young and unlined, cheek pressed to a redhead's Mickey's stubble jaw. He walked in then, coat dusted with flurries. "Ryan? Who's Mickey?" The name cracked like ice underfoot. His face shuddered, then cracked. "A ghost. Nam buddy. More than that. Once. We wrote, promised. But war took him. Tet offensive. 68. Bullet to the chest. Voice breaking. He sank to the bed. I loved him, Ryan. Buried it deep when I came home. Ellen was safe, steady. But you unearthed it all. Betrayal twisted. Not in the letters, but in my assumption. Why hide it? I'm not some fragile kid. I'd have listened. Fear, he admitted, of losing you to truths too heavy. 60. I've lost enough. I knelt before him, hands on knees scarred by life. We're in this, Jacob. Ghosts and all. But no more vaults. We air it out, like the garage after rain. Spring thawed us, tentative. We told Frank, over Easter ham, his face purple as the Jell-O salad. Disowned, he spat, storming out. The parish buzzed. Pews empty on Sundays. But we found our church in each other, volunteering at the Pride Center in Milwaukee. His stories mentoring wide-eyed queer kids. My arm looped through his at the Summerfest gates, unashamed. Climax hit midsummer, a sweltering July Eve mirroring our first collision. Tommy's squad, off-duty badges gleaming, cornered us at the lakefront, bonfire crackling, beers in hand. Fairy tales over. Harlan, he sneered, cronies chuckling. Towns had enough of your bedtime story. Jacob stepped forward, chin lifted like Nam Dawn patrols. Back off, Riley. This ain't your beat. Tommy lunged, fist cocked. I surged, tackling him into the sand. Chaos erupted, grunts, curses, the bonfire spitting embers like judgment. A punch split my lip. Jacob's elbow cracked against a jaw. Sirens wailed distant, then near, blue lights fracturing the night. Cuffed in the squad car separate, cold metal biting wrists, I met Jacob's gaze through the divider. Worth it? The cop driving asked, smirking. Every damn bruise, I said, and Jacob nodded, blood trickling from his brow like war paint. Charges dropped, witnesses from the fest crowd, video on a tourist's phone, but the rift with the old guard widened. Tommy transferred to Kenosha. Frank sold his house, fleeing to Florida. We emerged scarred but whole, the fight forging us. By fall's golden hush, we'd woven a life. My psych practice budding in a strip mall office. Jacob's garage a haven for strays. Kids like me once, needing fixes beyond engines. On our porch, swing creaking under doubled weight, we'd watch sunsets bleed into the lake, hands entwined. One evening, as stars pricked the indigo, Jacob pulled a small box from his pocket. Velvet, worn. Not legal. Not yet, Wisconsin's slow on these things. But a promise. Inside, twin bands, silver hammered rough like his hands. Marry me, Ryan, make the ghosts proud. Tears blurred the engraving, full measures. Yes, I whispered, slipping it on, the metal warm as his skin. We kissed under sycamores shedding leaves like confetti, the world vast and kind. In Wauwatosa's quiet heart, two men against the tide found harbor. Not perfect, age's aches, town's murmurs, but human, achingly so. Love, turned out, wasn't a battlefield, but a bridge, weathered, worth every crossing. The ring caught the porch light, a modest gleam against the gathering dusk, as if the universe itself approved with a nod. Jacob's fingers trembled slightly, remnants of that old shrapnel twitch, when he slid the mate onto his own calloused digit. To us, he toasted with a raised hams, the condented from a dozen porch toasts before this one. I clinked my Miller against it, the aluminum kiss echoing our quiet vow, and for a moment, the cicadas hushed, as if even they held their breath. But promises, like Milwaukee bridges over the Menominee, carried weight you didn't see till the fog rolled in. The wedding, such as it was, unfolded in layers, a ceremony stitched from stolen threads. No chapel with stained glass saints frowning down. Instead, we chose the bluffs of Peninsula State Park, where Lake Michigan crashed eternal against Red Rock shores, indifferent to human follies. Officiant, a queer rabbi from Madison, her Star of David tattoo peeking from a linen sleeve, voice warm as challah fresh from the oven. Witnesses, a ragtag crew, my old therapist, Dr. Lena, with her notebook of affirmations, Jacob's VFW buddy Cal, grizzled and teary, clutching a flask of Jim Beam, and a gaggle of Pride Center kids, their signs. Love wins. Bitches. Waving like flags in the wind. I stood at the overlook in khakis and a button-down the color of driftwood, heart jackhammering as Jacob crested the trail. At 61 now, he moved with a deliberate grace. His flannel traded for a crisp white shirt rolled to elbows, revealing forearms veined like ancient rivers. Gray threaded his temples fuller, but his eyes, those storm-blue anchors, held the same fire that had snared me a year prior. You clean up nice, Harlan, I quipped, voice thick, as he took his place beside me, the rabbi's words washing over like waves. Do you, Ryan Elias Kessler, take this man to honor in joy and sorrow, in plenty and want, as long as breath allows? Her gaze twinkled. I swallowed the lump rising. Hell yes, I said, and laughter rippled through our makeshift congregation, Cal whooping like it had been a touchdown. Jacob's vows came steadier, voice gravel honed by decades. Ryan, you pulled me from the shallows when I thought drowning was mercy. I take you, fire and all, not for forever, 'cause nothing is, but for every damn tomorrow we steal. Rings exchanged again, this time with the rabbi's blessing, and when our lips met, salt tanged from the lake spray, the world narrowed to that point of contact, profound and profane. The reception was picnic style, blankets on the grass, coolers of Leinenkefs and brats grilled over a portable Weber, kids chasing frisbees while Lena cornered Jacob for adjustment stories. As dusk bruised the sky purple, we slipped away to a rented A-frame down the road, the door barely shut before clothes scattered like autumn leaves. His body, familiar yet ever new, pressed me to the pine walls, urgency tempered by tenderness, hands mapping freckles and scars with equal reverence. Husband, he murmured against my throat, the word foreign and fitting, like a key turning in a long-rusted lock. Morning brought coffee black as the bluff shadows, brewed on a camp stove, and a drive back south with the windows down. Springsteen's Thunder Road, blasting from the F-100's crackly tape deck. Home felt altered, the split levels side by side now bridged by habit, my toothbrush in his holder, his flannel draped over my chair. But Wauwatosa's undercurrents stirred, subtle as silt in the river. It started with the mail, a plain envelope, no return, postmarked from Kenosha. Inside, a single photo, grainy printout from some dark web dive. I figured us at the market last summer, his arm around me, my head on his shoulder. Red ink slashed across. Pervert. Jacob crumpled it, jaw tight, but I saw the flicker, old wounds reopening like numb flashbacks in the dead of night. Tommy, I growled, crumpling my own copy that arrived next day. Bastards got reach. Jacob shook his head, pouring bourbon neat despite the hour. Let it lie. Man's got his demons, we got ours, but demons don't lie quiet. Whispers amplified. At the brew pub, regulars averting eyes when I poured. Mrs. Petrovich crossing the street, rosary beads clicking like judgment. Then the real gut kick. My practice's first client, a teen named Alex, wide-eyed and trembling, spilling about his dad's rages after that Harlan show at the lake. "You're a beacon, man," Alex said, fidgeting with his hoodie strings. "Seeing you too. It gives hope, but hope's fragile." When his dad yanked him from sessions, citing indoctrination, the betrayal stung fresh. Jacob held me that night, his chest a bellows against my sobs. We're ripples, not tsunamis. Change comes slow in these parts. Summer swelled to a boil, humidity thick as unspoken fears. We escaped when we could road trip to the Northwoods, canoeing the Brule River where the water ran gin-clear over smooth stones, camping under a canopy so dense stars seemed stolen. There, by firelight, we shed the suburb's skin, him teaching me fly fishing, patience in the flick of the rod, me reading him Vonnegut aloud, his laughter rumbling deep when Kilgore trout spouted absurdities. Nights in the tent, zipped close against chill, our bodies a dialogue of whispers and gasps, age dissolving in sweat-slicked urgency. Yet conflict brewed back home, insidious. Frank resurfaced, not in flesh, but proxy, a lawyer's letter, crisp and officious, contesting Ellen's will. Undue influence, it claimed, citing our scandalous association as grounds to reclaim the Harlan house for family patrimony. Jacob read it aloud over breakfast, voice flat, then folded it into an ashtray, striking a match. Flames devoured the legalese, but not the chill it left. "They're bluffing," I insisted, scraping eggs from the pan. "Ellen's letter, it's ironclad." He nodded, but doubt shadowed his eyes. "Frank's spiteful. Always was. If he drags this to court." Trailing off, he busied with the sink, suds hiding his hands shake. The hearing loomed in September, oak-paneled courtroom in downtown Milwaukee smelling of polish and old grudges. We sat shoulder to shoulder on the hard bench, Jacob in his best suit, dated, but pressed crisp, me in chinos, leg jittering like a caffeinated squirrel. Frank took the stand first, bullneck straining his collar, voice booming with righteous thunder. "My sister built that home with Jake, raised a family, normal family. Now it's tainted. A den for unnatural acts." Objections flew. The judge, a no-nonsense woman with silver streaks and a rainbow pin discreet on her lapel, rapped her gavel sharp. "Stick to facts, Mr. Harlan, not sermons." Our turn. The rabbi testified to our union's integrity, Lena to Jacob's emotional resilience post-bereavement. Then Jacob, rising slow, the room's eyes on him like spotlights. "Your Honor," he began, steady as Lake Michigan calm. "Ellen and I vowed full lives. She knew my heart, flaws and all, and willed me freedom, not chains. Ryan didn't influence, he liberated. That house, its walls hold her laughter. My regrets, but it's ours to honor, not auction to hate." Silence. Thick. Frank's lawyer cross-examined, probing the age gap. "Isn't this a midlife crisis, Mr. Harlan?" And Jacob met it head-on. "Call it awakening. Better late than never." I squeezed his hand under the table. Unseen anchor. Verdict dropped like autumn rain. Will upheld. Costs to Frank. We exited into a crisp day, wind whipping the Milwaukee River to froth. And in the parking garage, away from stairs, I pulled him into a fierce kiss, victory tasting of relief and rage. "You were magnificent," I breathed. He chuckled, weary. "Just an old soldier telling truths." Fall deepened, leaves carpeting yards in crimson and gold, the air sharp with wood smoke and change. Our life settled into rhythms. Mornings with the Sentinel crossword, his pen scratching clues while I brewed Kona dark. Evenings walking the village green, debating election polls, him grumbling about that blowhard in D.C., me countering with policy wonkery. Intimacy evolved too, less frantic, more profound, his touch a cartography of care. Mine exploring the landscape's age had silvered but not diminished. Yet the humanistic core, the quiet revolution, unfolded in margins. At the Pride Center, Jacob mentored a vets group, sharing nom letters, Mickey's among them, read aloud with steady voice, bridging generations with tales of hidden loves, surviving shells and stigma. Bury nothing, he'd say, I's finding mine across the circle. It festers. Alex returned, dad in tow for family sessions, the man mumbling apologies over styrofoam coffee. One November Eve, snow flurrying first of the season, we hosted a bonfire in the backyard. Tires from the F-100 stacked as seats, Esmores dripping gooey on coat sleeves. Neighbors trickled in, tentative. Petrovich with her famous pierogi. Even Cal towing a cooler of hams. Tommy was absent. Rumor had it he'd quit the force for a security gig in Racine, Karma's sly wink. As flames danced, casting faces in amber, Jacob raised a stick skewered with marshmallow. To Bridges, he toasted, and glasses clinked, beers, thermoses of Irish coffee, ripples spreading. Later, Abed with the window cracked to taste the snow's promise. I traced his ring finger. Think we changed anything? His arm tightened around me, breath warm on my neck. Enough. For now. Winter wrapped us gentle. Blizzards howling but home fires high. We shoveled drives side by side, breaths clouding in tandem, then tumbled inside for cocoa spiked with rye. Holidays blended. My family's awkward Zoom. Mom beaming through chemo scars. Dad silent but present. His ritual solitary. Now shared. Tree strung with Ellen's ornaments and my Packers baubles clashing merry. Climax revisited not in fists, but fragility. February's full moon. Jacob woke gasping, chest tight, sweat slick. Just indigestion, he waved off, but I drove him to Frodtert anyway. ER lights harsh as interrogations. Docs poked, prodded. Angina, stress-fueled, a stent to shore the breach. Waiting room vigil. I paced linoleum worn shiny. Lena's texts a lifeline. Breathe, Ryan. Love's tougher than arteries. He emerged pale but puckish, for bruises blooming like badges. Doc says I'm roadworthy. With caveats, no more double brats at tailgates. In recovery, monitors beeping soft. He gripped my hand. Scared you? Ha! Terrified. Tears welled. I dashed them. Can't lose you, old man. Not when we're just getting started. His thumb stroked my knuckles. Echo of our first touch. Won't. Promise. That night, home in flannel sheets. We held gentle, no fire. Just nearness, bodies a testament to endurance. Spring renaissance. Daffodils pushing through mulch like hope's green fists. Jacob's recovery paced us slow. Walks shortened to blocks, but savoring each crack in the sidewalk. Each squirrel's scamper. My practice bloomed. Clients stacking like cordwood. Many queer elders unearthing their own Mickeys. We traveled light. A weekend in Chicago. Navy Pier Ferris wheel creaking as we kissed at the apex. City sprawl a glittering sea below. By summer's cusp. A year wed. We stood again at the Bluffs anniversary pilgrimage, cooler packed with subs from potbellies. Waves thundered approval, gulls wheeled lazy. Regrets? I asked, sand gritting between toes. He pondered, arm around my waist. None worth keeping. You? Zero. Kiss sealed it. Timeless. In Wauwatosa's we'd threaded gold from dross, betrayals burned to ash, conflicts to covenants. Human, flawed, fierce, two lives entwined, a story not ended, but ever unfolding, under American skies vast with possibility. The Bluffs' echo lingered in our bones as we drove back, the F-100's engine a contented growl against the highway hum. Jacob's hand rested on my thigh, a casual claim that still sent sparks up my spine, even after the stent's sobering whisper. Chicago next year, he mused, eyes on the rear view where Wisconsin's hills rolled farewell. The bean reflect our mugs back at us, all distorted and perfect. I laughed, squeezing his fingers. Deal. But only if you promise no more indigestion detours. The ER scare had etched lines deeper around his eyes, but also softened him, hugs lingering longer. I love you, doled freer, like he'd glimpsed the cliff's edge and chosen the climb back. Home greeted with summer's riot, black-eyed Susans nodding over fences, the air thick with grill smoke and cut grass. Our yards, once divided by chain link, now blurred, his tomatoes staking my basil, my hammock slung between shared oaks. Neighbors' attitudes thawed uneven. Petrovich baked babka unprompted, murmuring mazel at our garden gate. But the postman, a holdout with a buzzcut and Bush/Cheney sticker fading on his truck, delivered mail with pointed stares, once muttering Adam and Steve under his breath. We let it slide, Jacob's philosophy. Water off a duck's ass. Focus on the pond. Work pulled us divergent. My office a sunlit nook overlooking the village square, where clients unpacked closets long locked, widowers confessing crushes on golf buddies, housewives dreaming of women's hands. Jacob tinkered at the garage, now a co-op with Cal, restoring classics for Milwaukee's vintage crowd. Evenings converged at the stove, me chopping onions for chili, him searing venison from a fall hunt, stories swapping like recipes, his of foxhole improvisations, mine of therapy breakthroughs. August baked the earth brittle, tension coiling like heat lightning. The Betrayals sequel slithered in via email, an anonymous tip to the Journal Sentinel's gossip mill. Local vet's hero in lavender scandal? Fizzled. Editor spiking it as tabloid tripe, but ripples lapped at the VFW. Cal pulled Jacob aside post-meeting, face-etched concern. Some boys grumbling. Jake. Frank's been yapping at the bar. Says you're dishonoring the uniform. Jacob shrugged it off over beers at home, foam clinging his mustache. Let 'em grumble. Fought for freedoms, not their fragile egos. But I caught him later, staring at Ellen's photo, thumb tracing her smile. Miss her take on this circus, he admitted, voice low. Think she'd approve? I slid beside him on the couch, arm around shoulders bowed slightly. Whole hog, a ghost smile. She'd say, bake the bastard a pie, then tell him to shove it. We did better. A VFW open mic. Jacob signing up last minute. Guitar from the attic dusted off. Under fluorescent buzz, folding chairs scraping, he strummed Dylan's, tangled up in blue, voice rough but resonant, verses twisting love's knotty paths. Eyes met mine in the back row, defiant. Applause scattered, then swelled, Cal whistling sharp, a few vets nodding slow. Frank wasn't there, but word spread, the old warrior hadn't bent. Fall's palette turned dramatic, maples aflame as if the trees themselves burned with our story. We leaf-peeped up to Devil's Lake, boots crunching quartzite paths, the glacier-carved gorge a metaphor for erosion's yielding beauty. At the summit, wind whipping, Jacob pulled me close. "Remember the shower? That dumbass comment of yours." I grinned, cheeks flushing despite the chill. "Best blurt ever." Changed everything. His eyes softened. Lake blue. Saved everything. Back in the swing of suburbia. Conflict crested subtle. A client poach. No. A deeper rift. My practice hit a milestone. A grant for queer elder counseling. Headlines in the community rag touting Kessler's compassionate care. Pride swelled. But envy flickered when Jacob's garage landed a feature in Hot Rod, Harlan's hands. Reviving American iron. Jealous? He teased, clipping the article to the fridge beside my own. Nah, I lied. The twinge sharp. Truth, his world felt vast. Mine a waiting room of wounds. It bubbled one night over pot roast. Candles guttering low. You get it, right? The spotlight, it's yours by grit. Mine by granting. He set fork down, brow furrowing. Bull. You're mending souls. That's grit forged in fire. Hand over mine. Earnest. Don't diminish. We're a team, your words. My wrenches. Validation soaked in slow. Like rain on parched clay. We celebrated tandem. A joint booth at the harvest fair. His carburetors gleaming beside my pamphlets. Kids gawking at engines while parents pocketed cards. Sales boomed. A vet stopped Jacob, voice gruff, saw the article. Needed to say. Respect. Progress. Inching. November's chill nipped early. Thanksgiving a mosaic. My family drove up. Mom frail but fierce. Dad thawed to grunts of approval over turkey. Jacob sighed empty save Cal and a center kid. Alex. Now out and beaming. Table groaned under fixings. Mom's cranberry relish tart as memory. Jacob's wild rice stuffing earthy. Toasts veered heartfelt. Dad. Surprising. Lifting glass. To found family. Tears pricked. Jacob's foot nudged mine under leaves. Anchor. Post-feast stupor. We raked leaves in twilight. Piles crackling under boots. Best bird yet, I said, dumping a barrow. He paused. Rake idle. Best everything. Pull into flannel-clad embrace. Leaves swirling like confetti round us. Winter's grip tightened, but we armored with rituals. Tree trimming to Bing Crosby croons. Ornaments clinking tails. Ellen's crystal star. My Packer's elf gone rogue. New Year's at the safe house. Midnight kiss amid auld lang syne cheers. Confetti sticking to stubble. Intimacy deepened in Cold's cocoon. Slow dances in the kitchen to Coltrane on vinyl. His lead sure. Mornings tangled. Breath sinking like tides. Yet climax shadowed in March. Thaws mud-sucking at resolve. Jacob's checkup revealed arrhythmia. Electrical gremlins. The doc joked. Prescribing pills and monitors. Fear coiled anew. I hovered. Adjusting pillows. Timing meds. Ease up. Nurse Ratchet. He groused one eve, but eyes held gratitude. The real storm brewed external. Frank's final gambit. A petition to the zoning board, claiming our domestic arrangement violated neighborhood character, pushing for a variance to sell the Harlan lot to developers. Hearing in the rec center. Folding chairs again, but stakes higher, our homes entwined. Frank testified venomous. This pairing devalues property. Families with kids shouldn't see such displays. Murmurs rippled. Petrovich stood, voice quavering but steel. I've seen displays, your bar fights, Frank. Their love, quiet, kind. Applause erupted, scattered to standing. Our turn, neighbors testified. Cal on Jacob's volunteer halls for habitat. Lena on community healing. I spoke last. Voice steady. This isn't about property lines, it's hearts. Jacob and I built a home, not walls, but welcome. Tear it down. You orphan more than houses. Board ruled swift. Petition denied. 5-2. Frank stormed out, tail between. Outside, rain sheeting. Jacob pulled me under the awning. Kiss fierce. Your words. Gold. Spring's bloom felt earned. Tulips defiant in beds we mulched together. Birdsong a victory march. We garden side by side. Dirt under nails. Plotting expansions. Greenhouse for his heirlooms. Therapy garden for my clients. Summer teased with warmth. Pride Month banners fluttering village poles. Rainbow progress. Hard won. 1 June dawn. Fog lifting off the river. Jacob proposed expansion literal. Sell both lots? Buy that fixer on the lake. Room for a studio. Your office. I's hopeful. Vulnerable. Heart swelled. Our castle. Ours. We toured it, sagging Victorian. Views endless. Papers signed by Solstice. Movers hired. Closing night in the empty shell. Sleeping bags on floors. Stars through skylights. To new horizons, he toasted with thermos scotch. Love's arc bent humanistic. Not conquest, but cultivation. Betrayals seeded growth. Conflicts composted to soil. In America's heartland sprawl, 2 men, young fire, seasoned oak, rooted deep, branches reaching. The Victorian's bones creaked like an old jazz standard as we moved in, box by box, sweat slicked in July's embrace. Dubbed Harbor House on a whim, plaque ordered from an Etsy artisan with a flair for whimsy. It perched on Wauwatosa's edge, where suburb yielded to the river's wilder bend, windows framing willows dipping toes in current. Jacob claimed the garage for his iron sanctuary, tools migrating like faithful hounds. I carved the attic into a sun-drenched office, shelves groaning under DSM-5s and Vonnegut tomes, a therapy couch unearthed from an estate sale smelling faintly of lavender dreams. Unpacking unearthed artifacts. His Nom dog tags tangled in a sock drawer, clinking like wind chimes. My ex-Lisa's mixtape, Springsteen heavy, crushed underfoot without remorse. Evenings dissolved into chaos joyful, pizza boxes as temporary tables, laughter echoing off bare walls as we christened rooms with paint-splattered dances to the radio's static kiss tunes. But settling stirred undercurrents. As moves do, territories shifting like tectonic plates. Jacob's routine frayed. The drive to the co-op garage now a trek. Traffic snarling his patience thin. Miss the old fence-line chats, he grumbled one morning, coffee mug steaming in grip. Feels like we upped and left the ghosts behind. Ghosts or nosy neighbors? I teased, but caught the drift. The new digs isolated us, a bubble of bliss amid whispers we'd outrun but not outpaced. Petrovich sent a housewarming babka. Note tucked, blessings on your nest. But the postman persisted. Deliveries tardy. I sliding away. Work amplified divides. My client load ballooned. Evenings Zooming with a Madison consortium on elder LGBTQ plus retreats. Brainstorming sessions till midnight. Laptop glow casting my face gaunt. Jacob tinkered solo. Supper cold when I dragged in. Join me sometime, he invited once. Grease-streaked, holding a carburetor like a talisman. Wrenches over pixels. Guilt gnawed. I promised, but deadlines devoured. Tension simmered. Unspoken, his silences longer. My apologies wrote. Culminated one September squall. Thunder rumbling as I slammed the laptop shut. What's eating you? Harlan, spit it. He wiped hands on rag. I storm-matched. Us. This house. It's grand, but we're drifting like boats untethered. You in your head, me in the muck. Remember the bluffs? That tether stung. I paced the kitchen, linoleum cool under socks. I'm building, Jacob, for us, for the kids like Alex, the vets like you. It's not drifting, it's sailing. Sailing solo. Feels like. Voice cracked. Rare vulnerability. Age gaps widening. Your world's expanding. Mine's rusting. The words landed like hail. Bruising. Betrayal inverted, not his, but mine. Neglect in ambition's name. I crossed to him, hands framing stubble-rough cheeks. Bull. You're my compass. Let me show you. That night, we drove to the co-op unannounced. Rain sheeting, and I handed him tools. Learning the carburetor's guts, patience in the twist of a wrench. His hand guiding mine steady. Harmony restored. Fragile. Fall foliage tour became ritual. Highway 57 to High Cliff State Park. Leaves a kaleidoscope frenzy. Stopping at orchards for cider donuts sugared sticky. Better than Paris, he declared. Crumbs on shirt. And I believed him. Our romance rooted in heartland grit. Not Eiffel glow. Thanksgiving anchored us. Harbor House's first big feast. Turkey brining in the clawfoot tub, Jacob's idea. Tenderizes like a charm. Guests swelled. Mom and Dad tentative but thawing. Dad even carving with grunts approving. Cal towing a squadron of vets. Stories flowing freer than gravy. Alex with his bow. A barista with tattoos blooming like ink gardens. Table talk veered from Packers' woes to pride parades. Laughter bridging chasms. Post-pie stupor. Jacob and I snuck to the porch. Breaths clouding. Team, he murmured. Arm heavy around me. Winter whispered in on solstice winds. Harbor House aglow with lights strung like promises. We adopted traditions hybrid. His Yule log crackling stories of Norwegian grandfolks. My Hanukkah lax crisping in cast iron. Nod to Lena's roots. New Year's. We toasted on the widow's walk. Fireworks blooming over the spires. His kiss tasting of champagne and forever. But conflict's embers glowed. Health's thief struck sly. January's deep freeze. Jacob's arrhythmia flared. Pills skipped in workshop haze. Chest seizing mid-weld. I found him slumped over the bench. Arc welder hissing abandoned. Panic's vice on my heart. Again. Monitors beeping accusatory. Doc stern. Lifestyle tweak. Mr. Harlan stressed down. Checkups up. Recovery chafed him. Sidelined from heavy lifts. Co-op shifts halved. Cage feels tighter. He confessed one blizzard night. Snow muffling the world white. I massaged shoulders knotted as oak. Oil slick hands working tension loose. We're adapting. Love. Like the Ford's rebuild, patience yields power. Spring's thaw mirrored mending. Daffodils nodding approval. river swelling with melt. We joined a couple's hike group, queer elders mostly, canes tapping trails like Morse. Jacob bonded over war yarns. I over psych parallels. Bonds formed, suppers shared, our circle widening without dilution. Summer's zenith brought climax communal, the center's inaugural heart's unhidden retreat, my grant's brainchild, a weekend at a lakeside lodge, vets and youth mingling. Jacob co-led a workshop, Mickey's letters centerpiece, voice steady, love had cost me decades. Don't pay that toll. Tears flowed, hugs lingered. Alex cornered me after, you too? Legends. But personal thunder rolled. During a bonfire share, a vet bitter, boozed, snarled at Jacob, traitor to the uniform, betting boys half your age. Silence blanketed. Jacob rose, fire lit. Uniform stood for liberty, soldier. Mine includes this man. He pulled me up, arm firm. Cheers drowned the heckler, who slunk to shadows. Drive home silent, then cathartic, windows down. Dylan wailing, the times they are a-changin', hands clasped over gearshift. Proud? I asked. Damn right. Fall's harvest moon waxed full, our second anniversary dawning crisp. We recreated the bluffs. Picnic of Gouda and grapes, blanket spread on quartz. 2 years, he tallied, uncorking Riesling. Feels like 10 minutes. Best blur, kiss deepened, timeless. Yet betrayals echo, faint. A letter from Frank, postmarked Florida, apology scrawled shaky. Saw the article on your retreat. Ellen be proud. Forgive an old fool? Jacob read it aloud, then filed it with the will. No burn this time. Human, he said. Like us. Winter wrapped gentle. Holidays a hearth. Mom visited. Frail but fierce. Braiding lax with me while Jacob and Dad tinkered the F-100, grunts evolving to chatter on carburetors. Solstice circle with center friends. Candles flickering, vows renewed. Climax intimate. Valentine's Eve. Snow blanketing harbor house soft. Jacob gifted a journal leather-bound. His whittling. Our story, he urged. Your words. My sketches. Pages filled collaborative. My prose on shower hooks. His pencil sketches of tangled limbs. Scars honored. By spring's kiss. The journal brimmed. A testament. We self-published slim run for the center, Harbor Hearts. A love unearthed. Readings drawing crowds. Tears and toasts. Human arc. Jacob whispered post one. Stage lit. From hidden to hallowed. In America's tapestry. Threads like ours gay. Generational. Gritty wove resilience. Not flawless, but full emotions raw. Romance enduring. Drama distilled to daily grace. The journal's launch lingered like afterglow. Copies stacking on coffee tables from Wauwatosa to Walker's Point. Dog-eared by hands hungry for mirrors. Feedback flooded. Emails from Chicago exiles. Postcards from Door County retirees. Your words cracked me open. Thank you. Jacob thumbed a sketch page one morning. Coffee steaming. Think we did good. Beyond. I kissed his temple. Salt and pepper hair tickling lips. Harbor House thrummed now. Alive with purpose. Attic office buzzing clients. Garage echoing Cal's laughter over torque wrenches. But success's shadow loomed. Schedules clashing. My retreats pulling me overnight. His VFW commitments stacking like cordwood. Summer sizzled. Tension a slow simmer. A grant conference in Madison yanked me mid-July. 2 days of panels on intersectional aging. Jacob waved me off with a packed cooler. Subs wrapped tight, note tucked, conquer, then come home to your Viking. Hotel nights blurred. Keynotes on resilience. Networking till eyes burned. Grinder pings ignored but tempting in lonely hours. Guilt gnawed. I texted hourly, but replies lagged, his shop swamped, a 65 Mustang deadline looming. Returned dusty, the house felt off-kilter. Dishes piled, his flannel slung lonely over chair. Missed you, I said, dropping bags, pulling him into the hall. Kiss ignited, hands roaming familiar, but he pulled back, eyes shadowed. Missed you too. But that life, the conferences, the city pull. It's got hooks in you, defensive prickled. It's work, Jacob. For us, for the center's expansion. Dinner cooled uneaten, words sharpening. My ambition, selfish drift. His resistance, root-bound fear. Storm broke mild, no doors slammed. But sleep came separate. Couch for me, bed for him. The river murmuring recriminations outside. Dawn brought contrition. His coffee brewing strong. Note on mug, truce? Walk, we traced the river path. Duet, ducks quacking judgment. Scared, he admitted, sticks snapping under boots. Of losing you to brighter lights. I'm 63, tires don't run forever. I stopped, hands cupping face wind-chapped. Lights dim without you. Promise, balance. Retreats halved. More shop nights. Truce sealed with a kiss tasting of dew and devotion. The rift mended threadbare but true. Fall's symphony softened edges. Apple picking at a U-pick orchard. Baskets heavy. Cider presses groaning sweet. We hosted a story supper at Harbor House. Center alums sharing bites and confessions. Jacob's venison stew the star. Laughter-filled rooms once echoey. Bonds brazing. But conflicts fork, health specter doubled. My annual check routine, but blood work flagged prediabetes. Docs TSK. Stress eating, Mr. Kessler. Dial it. Jacob's turn yielded clean. But empathy flipped, he hovered now. Packing salads. Timing my runs. Pot. Kettle. I joked. But chafed at role reversal. Independence bruised. November's gray. We tackled tandem. Joint gym membership. Spin classes sweating out resentments. Post-sweat smoothies shared on the deck. Partners in crime, he panted. Towel draped. Grin boyish. Holidays hearthwarm. Thanksgiving with expanded kin. Mom's new beau. A widower with corny jokes. Dad and Kel bonding over bourbon tales. Tree trim to Mannheim steamroller. Ornaments accruing. A silver stent replica. Jacob's rye gift. My insulin pen charm, mine. Defiant. New Year's bonfire on the beach. River frozen silver. We burned resolutions scrawled. More us. Winter's belly. February's Valentine's. Climax crested emotional. A blizzard buried Harbor House. Power flickering. A snowbound with candles and canned soup. By lamplight, Journal Volume 2 birthed. His sketches inspiring my prose. A chapter on storms within. Vulnerabilities voiced. Ages aches aired. Your Vikings got chinks, he illustrated. Self-portrait armored but cracked. Tears traced my read aloud. Embrace followed. Slow and sacred. Bodies affirming what words couldn't. Eternal, I whispered. Spring's vigor renewed. Garden plots doubled. Seeds sown collaborative, his beefsteaks. my herbs mingling. Retreat co-planned, elders echoes, Jacob's vet focus weaving my psych frame. Success swelled attendance. Lodge alive with shares. A widow outing after decades. A vet weeping Mickey parallels. Yet betrayals whisper. An old client. Bitter from a botched session. My fatigue's fault. Leaked distortions online, Kessler's sham. Profiting off pain. Trolls swarmed. Reviews tanking. Sleepless. I scrolled venom. Jacob snatched the phone. Fed it to the fire. Noise. Were signal. Support rallied. Lena's legal shark. Center's statement. Storm passed. Practice Phoenix rising. Clients doubling in solidarity. Summer's heat wave. Anniversary 3rd. Door county cabin redux. Kayaks slicing bay calm. 3. He tallied. Oars dipping sink. Like wine better aged. Kiss amid waves. Salt stung. Fall harvest. We reaped. Journal 2 launched to acclaim. Readings in bookstores fragrant with ink. Frank attended 1. Florida tanned. Eyes humbled. Handshake tentative post. Proud. Jake. Of you both. Human bridge. Winter's hush. Solstice circle with friends. Candles circling vows to weathering. Holidays hybrid joy. Lax and lutefisk. Laughter loud. Climax gentle. April's cherry blossoms. A scare. Jacob's dizzy spell mid-hike. Benchbound. Dock. Vestibular. Age's prank. But in wait. Holding hands. We vowed check-ins doubled. By summer's solstice. Harbor house harbored fully. Studio for his carvings. Greenhouse blooming. Life's drama distilled. Romance in routine. Emotion in eyes met over onions. In Midwest marrow. Our gay gospel. Love's not linear, but layered betrayals to bedrock. Conflicts to clarity. Human. Holy. Years folded like accordions. Each pleat adding depth without dimming shine. By the journal's 5th printing. Harbor House stood as unofficial annex to the center, porch sessions for walk-ins. Garage man cave therapy for vets dodging couches. Jacob, 70, moved with a hitch, knee replacement from a nom dodgeball gone wrong. But his laugh boomed undimmed, wrench in hand or guitar on knee. I hit 40 softer. Grays threading my temples like silver wisdom. Practice a pillar in the village. Retreats annual pilgrimages. Evolved, morning's yoga tandem on the deck. His form steadying mine. Nights pouring journals. Adding chapters. Echoes endure. Conflict came cyclical. Softer. My urge to adjunct at Marquette. Lectures on queer psych pulling evenings. Go, he urged, but eyes held that old shadow. We negotiated, Wednesdays only, home by 10 for his meatloaf ritual. Balance tipped, held. Betrayal's last gasp. Tommy Riley, resurfaced in a weak moment. Barstool confession at the Safehouse reunion. Drunk on regret. Hurt you. Dad's dying words. Fix your hate. Son. Apology slurred. But sincere, we bought him coffee next morn. Jacob's forgiveness a masterclass. Water under. Build a dam instead. Human arc peaked poignant. Ellen's anniversary. We scattered petals on the river, her script read. Full measures echoed. Tears mingled with current. Release. Climax quiet. Jacob's 80th. Surprise roast at the center. Callum seeing. Alex toasting. Mom. Cancer-free a decade. Dancing with Dad to Thunder Road. Speech mine. 60 to 28. Math's wrong. Soul to soul. Even keel. Kiss amid cheers. Timeless. Ending humanistic. Not grand fade, but gentle glow. Harbor house weathered storms. Blizzards. Health hiccups. Town's slow thaw. Emerging elder oak. Branches sheltering. Love's lesson. Dramatic in depths. Romantic in routines. Emotional in eyes locked. Betrayal burned to beauty. In America's amber heart. Jacob and Ryan. Proof that at any age, showers of truth can flood lives with light. Full. Forever.